Li-Ling, this is just the first such resolution adopted by the Council. How significant is it?
Yes, it's quite a big deal, Jessica, not only because this is the first resolution of its kind, but it signals consensus among countries who recognize that the threat of terror attacks on civil aviation is a very real one that requires global attention. And this resolution that was put forward by the United Kingdom essentially calls on countries to work with the UN's aviation agency, the International Civil Aviation Organization, to upgrade and update their own national security measures at their airports and airlines in order to adapt to the growing and evolving terror threat. A time of reflection at the UN Security Council as world leaders looked back on some of the worst attacks on the aviation industry in recent memory to galvanize a strong international response.
The Malaysia aircraft MH17 has been shot down by terrorists in the sky over the eastern part of Ukraine, killing 298 people. And this terrible atrocity is a potent reminder of the gravity of threat to the civil aviation.
In June this year, gunmen and suicide bombers attacked the Ataturk airport in Istanbul, just 3 months after assaults were carried out on Belgian transportation hubs. And there have been others as well.
The attacks on airports in Brussels and Istanbul, the destruction of the Russian Metrojet aircraft over Sinai last year, and the explosion on board a Diallo Airways flight from Mogadishu in February. All these outrages posed a serious threat to international peace and security.
The first ever UN Security Council resolution on aviation security calls on nations to work with the UN's International Civil Aviation Organization to update security standards and adapt measures to the evolving terrorist threat. It calls on countries to update and implement measures at their own airports and address any perceived gaps in security. It also urges tighter screening procedures and airport checks and better sharing of information on possible threats, as well as techniques for detecting explosives. China's Fang Liu, who is the Secretary General of the UN Aviation Agency, the International Civil Aviation Organization, told the Security Council this session that every day more than 100,000 flights take place, carrying 10 million passengers, and that all adds up to about 3.5 billion travelers every year, and that number is expected to double by the year 2030. So civil aviation security is one of the agency's highest priorities, and areas of concern include homemade bombs hidden in cargo and baggage, passengers carrying small arms on board, drones, cybersecurity, as well as ground-to-air missiles.
And Li-Ling, to get all of the nations around the world, their airports up to speed with these international security standards, it really sounds monumental. How does the UN plan to ensure that nations are committed to this?
Well, this resolution came about kind of in a spirit of cooperation. It doesn't legally bind countries to actually lift their standards, their aviation security standards under international law. What it does is it encourages countries to share their best ideas and best practices with each other and collectively raise the international security standard here, and in so doing, no country is left behind. So a lot of this is an encouragement for countries to share their ideas and their techniques, their screening processes.
Our Li-Ling Tan live for us in New York. Our thanks to you.